Hello, everyone. Today we are going to talk about how you can study audit to get an exemption in CA Final. So, the first question is whether you should go for coaching or do self study. So, I personally took coaching from Goel sir. So, it is not more so about the faculty but about the subject. So, what I realized was, having also done my articleship in audit, I don't think that audit is a subject which actually requires coaching. So, it is a subject which you yourself can understand through self study. So I think that rather than spending more time on coaching and watching the lectures, which do not probably help you learn or memorize the subject in that sense, then you should probably do self study, try and understand things. There would be hardly any topics which you actually won't be able to understand. For those, you can refer to YouTube videos. There are a lot of videos available, so you can refer to those videos. But you can probably do self study because that'll save you a lot of time. And at the end, you have to do self study only, even if you take coaching, to be able to memorize the subject. So, the first question is whether you should go for coaching or do self study for audit. So, for a subject like audit, or for that matter, any theory subject, I don't think so. Coaching plays a vital role if you can understand the subject upon reading it. So, audit being one of those subjects which you can easily understand, you should not, I guess, probably spend much time on coachings because they'll not help you at the end of the day to memorize. That you'll have to do on your own. So probably just go for self study, try and understand things. So most of the things you'll be able to understand by your own. If you don't, then you can refer to YouTube videos. There are a lot of videos available out there. So I think that you should probably prefer self study. You can get books from different faculties. If you're not very comfortable reading it from the study material, then you can refer the faculty books and then study on your own. That will save you time, and you'll also be able to do more revisions. Spending the time, saving the time from the coachings, you can probably revise the subject more. Then next is the materials that I referred. So these are the materials. So faculty notes here in the mean basically the faculty books that are available. Then the ICS study material. So the thing about ICS study material in case of audit, I could not entirely go through it. I could not learn by it because it is very, very detailed and you need to have a lot of time to actually skim through it and find out what is more important. So what you can do is you can refer to a faculty book and compare it with the study material in your first go, that at least all the broad topics are covered there. That you can do. And you can also refer to ICS study material for all the TYK questions and illustrations. Then we refer to past year papers, RTP, MTP, and case study digest. Then the next question is when to study audit. So audit being a theoretical subject, it does not make much of sense to start with it. So I would say that in the first year, having done all the three practical subjects, SFM, costing, and um, FR, you can then move on to theory and start with audit probably or law, that is interchangeable. In your second year, aim for this, that you get done with audit, law, your elective paper, and then like a year before exam you start with DT and then IDT. Then going on to how to finally study audit. So first of all, let's start with what to do during coaching. I'll also come to the learning techniques later on during the video. But while you're doing coachings, first of all, watch daily lectures if you are doing coachings. And you'll be able to complete the lectures easily in like 1.5 months at max if you are very, very consistent with your lectures. Then I would say highlight, mark, and scribble. Whatever you do, make that book your own so that you don't feel stranger to that book when you later on refer to it for revision. So highlight whatever is important, mark all the important like keywords which you don't skip, which you can't afford to skip basically, and scribble something on the sides or make a little chart which you can refer to instead of the entire page. You can probably summarize that information in a chart made by your own, which will be more effective than a chart provided to you by any faculty or friend. And tally with study material, as we discussed earlier, also tally the broad topics are there, and nothing is missing. If you are making the your faculty book, your base book, complete your base book. That is the faculty book if you're referring to, and then revise everything daily. That is very important, especially for theory, because it takes a while to actually learn that. You have to, at the end of the day, after understanding, you have to somehow memorize at least the keywords which will get you marks in CA final, and then resolve any doubts that you have on a real time basis and don't let them pile up. Then moving on to the first revision. So understand all the concepts through and through, even if you have to watch like YouTube videos, call a friend, or any teacher of your own, then read, read, and read. There's nothing else that can help you actually learn that subject. Obviously, you do understand it. It's not like ratta maar rahe hain. Obviously, you understand it, but at the end of the day, you have to memorize it. Some of the techniques we'll discuss also here. But read, read, read. So the more you read, the more it'll sit in your head and everything. So yeah, that you have to do. So basically, read and then recall. So what I used to do was read, like you read about a particular topic, then try to recall what you read in your mind without actually seeing your book. So this recalling techniques kind of help you learn a lot. And practice all the questions in the first revision itself, and mark the questions that are important that you want to see again, the questions you could not basically answer in the first revision. So go through all the questions. Similarly for study material as well, refer to all the illustrations and TYK questions. Mark any questions which are not there in your book and which you have to refer study material for. Then categorize the question into A, B, C category, A being the most important, C the least, so that you can refer only to the important questions and save time later on. Then the duration of the first revision. So audit will take you initially, will take the first revision will take around 20-25 days if you are revising it with other subjects. But if you are dedicating the entire day to audit, which I won't recommend, although then it will be completed in like 15 days at max. Then coming to further number of revisions, how many revisions are enough? There is no such magic number. It is something that you have to find out, figure out for yourself what suits you best, how many revisions till date have suited you. So audit being a theoretical subject, it requires somewhat more revision for it to actually, for you to actually memorize those particular words in that exact form. So probably just start, right away when you do your coaching, probably just, keep in touch with the subject, try and revise it every month or something. So that way you'll take lesser and lesser time going ahead also. Then read, recall, and repeat, as I said earlier also. Read and then try to recall what you read just then only. And then repeat it also. Then just go through it again and again. So the number of revisions actually matter here. So try and revise as many times as possible. Then, in further revisions, having understood the subject once, revised it once thoroughly, you'll now have a better hang of it. And this is the time to probably do the past year papers, RTPs, MTPs, and case study digest. Case study digest you must never skip because it also give you a good MCQ practice also. So instead of doing MCQ practice from any other faculty notes or everything, refer to ICI MCQs because they are really tough and they'll give you a good practice which no other MCQs can. And how to study one day before the exam. So read only the highlighted parts. So by now that was the benefit of highlighting everything during your coaching and all your revisions, that now you'll actually reap the benefit of that. So read only the highlighted portion. You don't have to read each and every word. Then recall it also. Utilize the day of the previous exam. Don't waste that. It is very important. And practice all the A category questions because at the end of the day you have to solve questions. For example, you know the standards, but you don't know which standard to apply where. Then it is of no. And then also one more thing, follow the top down approach here. Follow like do the most important topics first, and then skim down, like because eventually when we go forward we tend to skip things and everything. So focus on the important topics first. Then one of the often asked questions, how to actually learn, how do we learn? So there's no straightforward answer to this. You have to kind of try everything and figure out what works for you. It's a hit and try method. But I'll tell you some of the techniques which I use or some of my friends use which worked for us. So these are some of the memorization techniques. Read repeatedly. As I said earlier, also the number of revisions is what will actually help you memorize things. Recall immediately when you read. So try and recall everything. Even when you sit in idle and you got reminded of a particular topic, try and recall the broad headers or the broad pointers or the keywords that you learned at that time. Then scribble. Scribbling also helps a lot of people. So when they are reading, they tend to write. It need not be legible, you can just scribble because so you're basically making an image in your head of that particular word. So as you're going through the text, you can keep a notepad or a rough pad or whatever by your side and scribble through as you read. Then make self notes. So this kind of also help people and it'll also help in the one day revision before the exams a lot. So they make notes of their own, which are basically nothing but all the keywords in their own handwriting. So that way they get a written practice also while preparing those notes. And yeah, they also get to revise it quicker, in a quicker manner. You can also make charts of your own, or you can, if you have a photographic memory, then there are charts also prepared by a lot of faculty members. So you can refer to those charts also probably. So ICA also has a lot of charts, especially for PE and everything. So you can refer to those charts. Then mnemonics also works for a lot of people. So some teachers also give mnemonics, or you can make mnemonics of your own. For example, for Caro also, a lot of teachers have mnemonics. You can also search on YouTube for that. So to help you remember the particular section, like the clauses of Caro, they have certain mnemonics for that. So mnemonics don't work for me. So I didn't used to do that, but yeah, a lot of people do. Then words, not lines. So yeah, very very important. Just try to understand that you don't have to learn whatever is written in the book as it is. That is not what we mean by ki ratlo, or like learn everything. No, it is not what it means. You can always write the answers in your own language, as long as the important keyword, like the keywords which make the essence of that answer, are covered in your question. So ICI is also not looking for that, all your prepositions and verbs and adjectives are to the point as it is given in SM. No, that is not what they're looking for. They're just looking for a keyword. For example, there is a particular model, or there is a whatever there's a PE ka clause for that matter. Then of course there are certain words that you need to use as it is, right, for it to make sense. Because yeah, so there are certain words you just cannot replace with any other word. So focus on words and not learning the entire line. Then 111 revision rule, very important rule. So if it is said that if you revise whatever you study on day one, the next day, that is one day after you read it, then within 1 week, and then within 1 month, it'll always stay in your head. So you can probably try that also. That is also a revision technique that works for a lot of people. I used to revise it like matlab, whenever you study audit, I try to keep in touch with all my subjects. Then moving on to a last segment, that is the important topics that have to be covered in audit. The first is the standards on auditing, very, very important, and they carry a lot of weightage. They also, more often than not, come in the compulsory question. So you cannot skip standards on auditing, or you can not skim that, I'll do this essay and not this essay. It is very, very unpredictable as to what essay will come and in what form. So you need to have a very thorough understanding of essays also. Learning is not enough here, because never ever a direct question is asked. It is always a situation or a case kind of given to you, in which you have to identify what essay is being used here, or what combination of essays is being used. So you need practice for that also. Then professional ethics, again very important, carries a lot of weightage, and it is something which is easy to learn also, because you just need to understand what all is covered in that particular clause, and you just need to learn the clause and not what is actually the examples that are covered under it, because that you'll anyway have to identify, right? Those examples will be given to you in the form of a question, and then you'll have to identify which clause it falls under, and you'll actually have to write the clause only. So there's a limited amount of things that you have to learn in PE. And for that also, ICI also has their own chart, which you can find on their website, which is a very good and comprehensive chart. So you can refer to that chart as well. And then special audit, which is very important, and most people don't usually prepare them, because it is tough and it is somewhat overlapping. So when I talk about special audit, I mean banks and BFC and insurance companies. So there's a lot of overlapping in these concepts, so people tend to just don't prepare it. So I would not suggest that, because most of the time, so if you see in audit, the weightage of the marks, like the almost all the chapters carry similar weightage, which is 5-6 marks. So if you go by this, that you go by preparing by weightage, then you'll end up leaving everything, and you'll rely solely on standards and professional ethics, and one of which is not very scoring. So like standards are not very scoring, because you need to in the answer you have to write a combination of standards, right? And we tend to miss one or two essays wherein we lose marks. So similarly is for PE. So these are not very scoring, and students more often than not go prepared with these two topics only, because they're like they'll carry a lot of weightage, so we'll 40 तो आ जाएंगे. But ऐसा नहीं होता है. So almost all the chapters carry 5-6 marks only. So don't miss on the chapters, especially like these special audits also, because one of these times we got a case study, like a 10 marks MCQ case study, which was based only on one of these special audits for a chapter. So don't do that, don't skip it. Similarly goes for peer review, quality review, and basically all the chapters carry 5-6 marks, especially the information technology special audit in automated environment. wala chapter. So it is a very small chapter when you see, but it also carry 5 6 marks. So don't skip that. I know it is a bit technical, but just imagine that you just have to study 10 pages and you get a short 5 6 marks. So that is a very scoring chapter too. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope you found the video helpful. All the best for your exams. And do let me know in case you have any questions, queries, any suggestions, or any way I can help you. Thank you so much. Please do like, share, and subscribe for more such videos.